PowerPoint and then get Jerry's remarks? Would that work out?
Well, I was hoping.
All right, go ahead. Hopefully it won't start again.
Yeah, I was hoping to just say a few remarks. I really appreciated today's presentations, particularly this morning, and also both Craig Tweedy and George. George's presentation was exceptional and brought back many fond memories, as did some of the other presentations by Bob Hollister and others. It was good to see the Tundra Ponds again. So without any of that old reminiscing, I'll let Janet turn on my PowerPoint. It runs for about, I think, 12 or 15 minutes, and then I'll be more than happy to respond to any comments or questions afterwards. So why don't we just then get started with the pre-recorded. I'm sorry for some of the monotonous tone of the presentation. It was done late the other night after the Red Sox beat the Houston folks, and I was kind of a little tired at the time. But anyway, here you go, Janet, please. Before starting, we need some sound there. Before starting my formal presentation, I would like to pay special personal tribute to some who have passed since the 50th. The former Director of Knowledge, John Kelly, John Schindler, Max Brewer, the ONR boss person in Washington, Max Britton, and several special local folks who I had the privilege of working with in the early 1960s and onward, the legendary and indispensable Kenny Tuvak and his sidekick Frankie Ockpick, and a special colleague Jess Walker, and also honors to Arnold Brower Sr. From the beginning, the BEO was envisioned by many of us as a window on the future. The BEO has been joined in its name recently by the tragic passing of the North Slope legend and friend, Charlie Edwardson. The BEO occupies approximately 7,500 acres. It is bounded on the north by the federal lands, on the east by Elson Lagoon, on the west by Cakeeta Road, and on the south by areas along Gaswell Road, including both east and west Twin Lake. As noted elsewhere in this program, NOAA and DOE observatories are important and sustained contributors to atmospheric research and monitoring. In addition, and for many years, Jack Townsend was responsible for the USGS Magnetic Observatory. Among the many objectives embodied in the BEO, this all-encompassing vision statement summarizes its overarching goal: to improve our understanding of past, present, and future changes and interactions among people, land, atmosphere, and coastal environments of the region, and to convey this information and knowledge to interested stakeholders and organizations. The following is a brief history and some early accomplishments of the BEO. Following several years of discussions among visiting and residing researchers, a formal request was presented to the UIC Board on August 25, 1992 by Tom Albert of the Wildlife Unit. The board approved the BEO as a research site and as shown on the previous map, and included two additional research sites. The IBP Tundra Biome area adjacent to Voth Creek to the west of the BEO, and Britton Manor. Details of these sites are documented in Norton's 50th anniversary publication. Although the formal history of the BEO started in the early 1990s with the UIC approval of the land for research, the major development began in post-50th Gnarl period. The boundaries were officially surveyed and flagged in 1995, however. In the BEO's formative period, the Barrow Arctic Science Consortium, BASC, was designated to develop and manage the BEO under the direction of Glenn Shan and several BEO committees. Documentation of these activities through 2009 are contained in the master plan and annual reports, which I'm attaching to this presentation. Many of the post-2009 activities have been discussed by other speakers, and I will only briefly touch upon them. As is well documented in the 50th anniversary publication, there's an extensive history of research in and around the BEO. The central concept of the BEO was to ensure a protected area for many of these long-term observations and ongoing and future research and observations. This simply lists some of those former activities. The BEO hosts several sites of a number of international Arctic networks, several of which have their origins on the BEO lands, particularly the COM and ITEX projects. One of the initial activities of the BEO was to reactivate the USGS permafrost temperature observations that Max Brewer had initiated in the 1950s. In summer 2001, a group of us met with Max at one of his sites just outside the BEO, as you can see in this slide. We selected a new site in the BEO, and in spring 2002, a new borehole was drilled under a contract facilitated by ARIARC at the University of Alaska. As part of the International Thermal State of Permafrost, TSP, Vlad Romanowski installed a data logger in the new borehole, and temperatures have been measured year-round since 2002. The curves on the right show the gradual warming in the upper permafrost as compared to the colder conditions in Brewer's 1951 measurements, as noted on the left. Another BEO long-term monitoring program, initially started by our CREL program in the 1960s and reactivated early in the 1990s, is the International Circumarctic Active Layer Monitoring Program, COM. As seen here, the long-term trend in active layer thicknesses show considerable variation. Details are available from the University of Delaware and Michigan State researchers. ITEX was another international program whose origins can be traced to the BEO under the leadership of Pat Weber and his Michigan State colleagues Bob Hollister and Craig Tweedy. A major project stimulated by the BEO and under the direction of Craig Tweedy was the Barrow Area Information Database, or BAID. BAID resulted in the location and documentation of some 2,000 historic and current research sites, essentially covering the entire history of ARL and NARL and into the early BEO years. A critical step in the protection of the BEO lands was the development of the master plan developed by BASC with the assistance of John Dunham. The plan reported on many aspects of the BEO and types of research and its future. Based on the detailed recommendations presented in the major. Between 2004 and 2009, the BEO Management Committee prepared and distributed 6 annual reports. These reports document all BEO projects and related management and contains important historical documentation for the wide range of research, experiments, and outreach activities. As indicated, I have made available to the workshop organizers these reports and the borough's ordinance and master plan. The final report in 2009 was dedicated to the memory of Kenny Tuvak, as seen here, augering a large diameter hole in ice-rich permafrost. This auger, operated by Kenny and Frankie Ockpit, provided access to the frozen history of the permafrost to the Barrow Peninsula, as well as provided holes for the approximately 500 piles which support the main NARL 360 building. Implementation of the IPY during the 2007 to 2009 period including designations of many of the BEO monitoring programs, and serves as a well-deserved reminder of the IPY heritage at Beryl, as seen in this slide. As indicated, I will only briefly refer to some of the post-2009 activities, since these have been covered by other workshop speakers. These include the NGE, the NEON, and the LTER projects. The pre-existing international monitoring programs continue to be an outreach activity with the local schools. The major post-2009 activity on the BEO was DOE's NGE program. This slide presents a glimpse into that major ecosystem program and its scientific accomplishments. It's reasonable to say that the BEO provided the unique opportunity to conduct this pioneering and complex ecosystem program. In many ways, it followed in the footsteps of the 1970s Tundra Biome program. More recently, the NEON program and the Beaufort Sea LTER have been established sites in and adjacent to the BEO, and you've heard about these, we'll be hearing about these programs elsewhere. What I have not discussed thus far was the early and continuing BEO outreach programs, and particularly those activities with the Beryl schools. This cover of our 2006 report illustrates the greenhouse experiment deployed early on in 2001 by then science teacher Leslie Pierce to demonstrate to the students the effects of warming on tundra vegetation. Our schoolyard activities included winter observations of snow depth and ice thickness. As you will see, new generations of students are still visiting the BEO and its greenhouses. Other schoolyard activities over a period of several years included weekly Saturday schoolyard presentations in the BARC and attended by students and local residents. Ann Jensen can provide details since she helped host these sessions and provided the refreshments. The final slide is a 2018 update of the BEO outreach activities, and if all goes well, we'll include a short Facebook video of this visit. But first, I would like to acknowledge the assistance to Jana Pierce for her help and assistance with this presentation, and thank you for bearing with me. It's time to roll the camera for the Facebook presentation.
So one where you up you were 11 when you want to go inside of a nice cozy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hard. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Whoops. Well, we know we have some work to do. That way? Okay. That is not a line. Get in line. Right over your way. So when you're out on the line and you get a really bad headache, this will help your headache. You open it up and you just chew it. It's like medicine. It's like aspirin.
Well, I thought you might like to see that little episode of the school kids out on the BEO. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or any other points that need to be made about the BEO. You missed the first slide, which demonstrated the partnership between UIC, the borough, and NSF as participants in the BEO and the early management activities of BASC under Glenn Sheehan's directorship. But in any event, that's all part of the history now. So with that, if there are any comments or questions, I'd be more than happy to respond.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. First, round of applause. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, not sure, but Jerry, did you realize that was Nagruk's brother there in the video, the guy squeezing the moss?
No, I was kind of wondering who that was. It vaguely,
Yeah,
amazing. There was another part of that video with that big shrub, and maybe someone will tell me if that's a real. Was that the birch shrubs that are growing up around the BEO? They weren't there 20 years ago. Or 25.
Yeah, I'm not a botanist, but it kind of looked like a willow shrub, Bob. Yeah, it looked like a willow shrub, Jerry.
Yeah, a willow birch, yeah.
Anybody have a quick question for Jerry, since he's joining us remotely from the East Coast and staying up a little late on his end for us? Okay, thank you, Jerry. And another round of applause for Jerry. Congratulations again, Jerry, on the Science Achievement Award.
Well, thanks very much, Ben.